Hi, welcome to HeKate's Crossing. Okay, we're looking at the principles of kinesiology, okay, by Maggie Latourell with Anthea Courtney. Now, this is just an introduction, okay, this is just the principles, okay, Thorson's Principles of Kinesiology, just an information book. It's not a manual, it's not a how-to or anything like that, even though it does include how kinesiology works, how to find a practitioner, self-help techniques you can use to keep well, and how it's usefully applied with other therapies. So kinesiology is an increasingly popular system of natural health care which combines muscle testing with the principles of Chinese medicine to access the energy and body function. A touch therapy, it uses a range of gentle yet powerful healing techniques and can be effective in the treatment of many conditions, including allergies, backache, fatigue, emotional problems, dyslexia, ME, headache, skin and bowel problems. And this introductory guide explains how it works, how to find a practitioner, which is really important, okay? If you really want the best out of it, the best thing to do is to find a practitioner. But this is just a little bit of information I just want to share with you. This is a great little book just for reading, just to sort of discover a little bit more about it. So what I'm going to do is just read little bits and pieces from it. So kinesiology is one of the fastest growing and most interesting developments in modern natural healthcare. It is a system of healthcare that uses muscle testing as a diagnostic tool and treats the whole person using a combination of gentle, safe techniques. It spans the full spectrum of health and healing, from its physical application in chiropractic, osteopathy, and sports medicine to the less tangible areas of psychotherapy and healing. With its remarkable range of applications linking the physical aspects of health to the emotional and spiritual, kinesiology is becoming a vital ingredient of healthcare in the 1990s, both as a therapy in its own right and as a complement to orthodox medicine and other therapies. So this book is from the 1990s. Okay, so we've actually got a lot more up-to-date sort of books, but yeah, just sort of give you an idea. Since its inception in 1964 by the American chiropractor Dr. George Goodheart, kinesiology has developed and expanded into an extraordinary wide variety of fields. Today is practiced throughout the world by doctors, dentists, chiropractors, osteopaths, naturopaths, physiotherapists, nutritionists, counselors, and many other natural health care practitioners, as well as business people, educationalists, and laypersons. Since 1973, Touch for Health, a system of kinesiology developed specifically for non-professionals, has been experienced by well over 2 million people in at least 42 countries. With its use of manual muscle testing combined with other diagnostic techniques, kinesiology offers one of the best methods of assessment, some practitioners would argue the best, available in modern healthcare. Unlike many other therapies which claim to be holistic and are biased in favor of one particular technique or physiology, kinesiology is truly holistic. It encompasses all aspects of the human being, the structural, nutritional, and psychological components of health, and provides a means of assessing and correcting imbalances in all three often interacting areas. Its combination of muscle testing techniques, holistic approach, and an effective treatments enables kinesiology to obtain positive results when other approaches, including orthodox medicine, have failed. So it talks a little bit about how this book, what about the book. It's an information book, okay? It's not intended as an instruction manual, although some self-help techniques are included in Chapter 6. Been written for the general public and for prospective students and health practitioners. Okay, so just take a little bit of time to sort of just focus a little bit. So let's look at some of the definitions. What is kinesiology? The word kinesiology comes from the Greek word kinesis, which means motion. In the medical sciences, is the name given to the study of muscles and the movement of the body. Applied kinesiology was the name given by its inventor, Dr. George Goodheart, to the system of applying muscle testing diagnostically and therapeutically to different aspects of healthcare. Today, the name applied kinesiology, HeKate, refers only to the parent system. as taught by the International College of Applied Kinesiology, ICAK, as a number of different branches have evolved. The term kinesiology has come to be accepted outside the medical profession as a general term for all those systems. Kinesiology could be defined as follows. Kinesiology is a system of natural health care which combines manual muscle testing with the principles of traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, energy balancing, and other healing modalities. It is truly holistic, working with the interrelationship between body structure, chemistry, the mind, and emotions, and energy systems. Kinesiology assessment uses muscle testing to let the body reveal precisely location and or nature of its imbalances and dictate its preferences for treatment. It uses a range of gentle yet powerful corrections and treatments specific to kinesiology, which bring about instant change and balance. It can be applied to in any field and draws on and integrates other therapies. So muscle testing. Okay, so it's your response. It's a muscle response to questions and things like that. Energy. In kinesiology, as in many forms of natural medicine today, the word energy, energetic, and energetically has specific meanings, rather different from the everyday use. The word energy does not mean get up and go, although increased get up and go often results from kinesiology sessions. So there's a lot more to it. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail. It does talk about balance and imbalance, and it does talk about reflex points as well. I don't want to read the book out to you in every single little bit, but I just want to sort of talk a little bit about the development of it. Is when we truly see, hear, and feel, then we see, hear, and feel the intricate simplicity of man and the simple intricity of man. Dr. George Goodheart. Applied kinesiology is the brainchild of George Goodheart, DC, a high observant and creative American doctor of chiropractic who began developing this holistic method of assessing and correcting a variety of bodily systems in the 1960s. Since then, it has spread throughout the chiropractic and medical professions. Okay, so it's gone through. So I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail with the chiropractic background. You can do a bit of research about that. First discovery experiments with muscle testing. Dr. Goodheart made his discovery, as he put it, by sheer serendipity. He was treating a young man who complained that he couldn't get a job involving manual work. He always failed his physical because his shoulder blade kept popping out. Examining the muscle that pushed the shoulder blade forward, Dr. Goodheart was surprised to find that it was not atrophied from disease as he expected. He also found some painful nodulation, tiny bumps at the point where the muscle was attached to the rib cage. When he pressed on these, they seemed to disappear, and when he massaged them deeply, the muscle itself becomes stronger. So he sort of goes on and explains a little bit about how that was all developed, how it all started. Then he talks about the acupuncture connection. So there's a connection between kinesiology and acupuncture, which is quite interesting. It's got the triad of health, which talks about kinesiology can be applied in association with a wide number of therapeutic and other methods from the physical through the emotional and the mental. Uses a complete therapy and it's truly holistic. Okay, so it does go on a little bit about that. Talks about headaches, milk, and allergies. About a woman who presented itself with that aspect, and then working with that. Touch for Health, TFH, and applied kinesiology, and developing his ideas and research. George Goodheart worked with a core group of chiropractors. One of his closest colleagues was Dr. John Thie, THIE, DC, having been involved in the early makings of applied kinesiology. Dr. Thie had a vision of making the amazing health-enhancing benefits of HeKate available to everyone. So in 1973, his book Touch for Health was published. It presented a synthesis of HeKate techniques in a form that could be understood and safely used by anyone, including people without any medical training or manipulative skills. So he goes on to explain a little bit about that. So it's quite a lot of information in this book. So he talks about what applied kinesiology is about, well, was then when the book was put out. And so you can find out a little bit more online, of course. So illness does not arrive suddenly, though it may seem to do so. It is usually the result of a build-up of stress, physical or emotional, leading to imbalances in the body-mind system, which ultimately lead to physical symptoms. Regular maintenance with kinesiology or touch for health can prevent this build-up from occurring. So that's interesting, isn't it? That if you apply daily care to yourself, then you're not going to get the illnesses that you have been getting with yourself. So it does talk about poor eyesight. It does talk about a whole lot of stuff. Again, with the right therapist is really, really, facilitator is super, super important. So there's a whole lot of stuff with accidents, addictions, allergies, anxiety, asthma, backache, bedwetting in children, bladder problems, bowel, breast soreness, candida albicans, chronic fatigue system, ME, constipation, coordination problems, depression, diarrhea, difficulty, and it goes on and on and on. I'm not going to go into detail. Of course, you can do a whole lot more research for yourself. You can grab the book yourself. You can grab any book on this subject. Is it safe? Yes, when it's done by people who are properly trained. So kinesiology cannot harm anyone. The techniques used for correction are simple and gentle. They work by enhancing the client's energy, following the dictates of the client's own body. Any therapy is only good as the person practicing in it. And it said a danger of some apparently simple techniques being picked up and practiced by untrained people. Unfortunately, the freedom of alternative therapists to practice in some countries has its abuses. So just be careful, okay? So it's been known for people to visit so-called kinesiologies and to be told after minimal testing that they have a serious illness. Okay, but be careful, okay? So it's not about someone who's just done a weekend workshop. Make sure it's done by someone who is properly trained. Because someone who is properly trained does not give medical diagnosis unless they're qualified to do so. Example, they're a GP, okay, or they're a doctor, okay? So do not, if you're using kinesiology, do not diagnose. We do not diagnose. The ideal use for kinesiology is a preventative health care to keep the physical, emotional, and energy systems in balance so that problems are less likely to arise. Used in this way in conjunction with self-help techniques, it can help people to achieve and maintain optimum health. So it is not a diagnostic tool unless you are a GP. Okay, so that is important. Unless you're a doctor, do not diagnose. Okay, that's so important with anything like this. Just want to make that really clear that this is a self-help book. It is not for diagnostic tools. Okay, it is for information. I just want to reiterate that. That is so important. Okay, so make sure that you choose a kinesiology who has the combination of skills that meet your needs. For example, if you have a back problem, your first choice might be an osteopath, or a chiropractor who uses kinesiology. You would not get an assessment from a kinesiologist who is not a manipulative therapist. And if the problem were muscular, as it often is the case, he or she might well be able to correct it. However, if it was found that you need manipulation, you would be referred to a chiropractor or an osteopath. If, on the other hand, you're suffering from emotional stress, maybe you need to go to a kinesiologist who specializes in emotional issues. If it's nutritional or allergy problems, you visit a nutritionist. Get it? Okay, just so that you know. Visit the type of care that you need, the therapist that can provide the care that you need. Okay, that's really important. Kinesiology is not something that you use on its own. It's used with other aspects. It gets the answers that you need so you can go to the correct therapist. Okay, so that's really important for you to know. I just want to keep reiterating that. Okay, so I just want to say that to you straight away, that even if I use kinesiology for a client, it is not something that I can do all the treatments. If you need chiropractic work, I would advise you to go to a chiropractor. If you need naturopathic work, I would suggest you go to a naturopath. If you need nutrition, I would suggest you go to your nutritionist. If you need something in particular, I would suggest you go to that specialist. There are some things I can do. There's some things I would suggest you go to see the specialist. Definitely so. So a first session would be taking a case history. So I want to know about your medical history. Your not that I'm going to use it for things, but I want to be able to refer you to the right care. Okay, I want to refer you to the right person. There are some things that I can do to help, and that could be done with massage, but I need to know a little bit about your background if I was going to do a massage session for you, or I'm going to do a Reiki session for you. I want to know a little bit about your background if it's necessary for your healing process. Okay, so just come up with a little bit of thing with, I'm not going to do, if I'm doing muscle testing with a client, a lot of it's face to face. It's not really something that you do over the internet. Okay, it's not something you're going to do over the internet. It's normally something you do face to face with a client anyway. So I'm not doing a lot of that stuff at the moment, but that's okay. But I just thought I'd want to share with this book if anyone's interested in having a little bit of a read. So let's go into the self-help stuff. One of the many benefits of kinesiology is that you actively participate in the session. You partake in the muscle testing and can experience for yourself, for instance, how weak muscles become strong after corrections, or the effects on your system of milk, sugar, or coffee, or of your beliefs and attitudes without having to take the practitioner's views on trust. Participation can also continue between the sessions. The kinesiology may recommend a change in diet, and you can test how effective this has been in your next session. Or self-help may be suggested in the form of exercises, self-massage of reflex points, or use the emotional stress release techniques. Okay, if we look at the chapter 6. Maintenance. The analogy of maintenance while looking after a car may sound amusing, but there are some similarities. You don't expect your car to go on running for years without having a check over and possibly having some minor repairs. Your body is much the same. It can benefit from a regular checkup and minor repairs when necessary to keep it functioning well. Many people who've experienced kinesiology acknowledge this and go for regular energy balancing as a form of maintenance. What's more, you don't need to be unwell or to qualify for energy balancing or maintenance. Many fit, healthy people include it as part of their fitness program. Okay, so let's have a look. We've got kinesiology assessment, which we're not going to go on to. What can be assessed, which goes on to a whole lot of stuff. And you really need to go and see a kinesiologist to get a little bit of information. So I'm not going to go there, but what I do want to go into, just trying to find the information here. Let's talk about your assessment techniques. A lot of it is face-to-face stuff. It is something that is best done face-to-face with a client. Definitely not something I would suggest to do over the internet. Okay? Because you've got to putting the fingers in specific configurations provide a non-verbal language for asking questions. I mean, you can do a surrogate connection, but you want to do that with someone who is officially trained in kinesiology, someone who's done a little bit more than just a weekend course. Okay, so can look at general chemical assessment, nutritional deficiencies, emotional factors. Now, emotional factors is my specialty. Okay, I'm not really dealing with the physical body. I'm dealing more with the emotional aspects of this, and this is quite different to kinesiology of the physical. This is more emotional issues. Okay, so this is where I'm sort of looking at. So there are two main methods to be used. In the first, two muscles are tested, one related to brain function and one to stomach function. These tests strong but weaken when the person thinks of an emotionally stressful situation. This indicates that this is having a negative or weakening effect on his or her system. This is a non-invasive way of assessing information, since the client does not have to tell the kinesiology what he or she is thinking. If, however, these muscles first test strong but weaken when the person thinks of a positive solution to a problem and strengthen when he or she thinks of the problem itself, this is an indication of psychological reversal, which needs to be corrected before emotional balancing can be effective. Anyway, it goes on a little bit about that, but it does talk about quite a bit of different stuff there. The fear of water started between the years of 2015. So you can sort of ask specific questions and sort of assess what's going on with that. So assessing electromagnetic factors, goes on summary chart of what is accessed and how. Does go on there. Balancing corrections and treatment. Types of correction include manipulation, massaging, neurolymphatic reflexes, holding neurovascular reflex points, meridian tracing, holding acupressure points, muscle reprogramming, cross crawl, right left brain integration, emotional stress release, and nutritional balancing. So there's quite a lot involved in this. I mean, it goes on quite a bit of information here. Emotional stress release. So it does say to return to the triad of health, emotional balance is necessary for complete balance and harmony. Emotional stress can also be a primary factor in muscle imbalance and can affect structure and body chemistry. ESR is a very simple yet powerful technique for helping people to deal with stress instantly and effectively. And it goes on, of course. I've just realised how long this has taken me. I've been blabbing and blabbing. Bark flowers is definitely my thing. I love working with bark flowers, but as a vibrational essence online, because I'm not necessarily going to have you, if I'm doing it online with someone, I'm not going to have them physically. I'm actually waiting for my bark flower remedy cards to come through, but I do have several books that do include bark flower remedies. Of course, bark flowers are a great way to correct any emotional balance, and it's definitely, I just send through that vibrationally, which is really, really cool. In that way. So there's quite a lot there. Nutritional balancing, options for balancing. It goes on. It does show you a little bit about the summary chart of correcting treatments and balancing options. Additional with the cross-call, emotional stress release, and how to do so. So quite interesting there. Additional self-help techniques include goal setting, goal balancing, psychological reversal, temporal taps are always really good, which are really fantastic. Emotional stress release. There's some really great basic ESR self-help. ESR with a friend. Advanced ESR, dehydration and water. ESR past, present, future. Dehydration and water, stimulating the immune system, improving vision, hearing, and coordination. It's really cool. Hearing and balancing, cross crawl. There's so much information here. I definitely, it does talk about kinesiology and other fields, working with other holistic medicines and things like that. So there's so much information in this great little book, just to get you started in introduction to kinesiology. Definitely is a starting point for you if you want to explore that a little bit further. Okay, so that's it from me. Don't forget to check the links down below. Check the links on my channel. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you know when the next video will be uploaded.